Michael Kwan here with Megatech News, here back with Samsung. The Galaxy S series has been around for several years now, and the latest iteration, the Galaxy S5, will be launching on April 11th. I have Ken here, who's going to walk us through some of the key differences that are upgrades over the S4.
We tried to do two things: balance improvement on some basic features people look for and add some new functionality into it. So for example, the product is water resistant, so it's protected against the elements better than ever before. It's rated as something called IP67, which is kind of a nerdy term, but it means it would survive, basic exposure to water and dust, because we know that these products are going to be used outdoors. In addition, we have a new 5.1-inch screen because we know that the screen is a really important part of the interface of a smartphone. And so we've done things to improve the screen in terms of how it presents colors and how it interacts with the users. And the last part I'd talk about maybe at the very beginning is the camera. Not only is there a better camera, a 16-megapixel camera that's faster and has a greater ability to take more high-resolution video and pictures, but also some of the picture-taking experiences, like being able to focus in on a subject really quickly. Those are some of the basic elements that we tried to improve.
And the screen is still 1080p, Super AMOLED.
Absolutely, high definition, so it's a full HD screen that's presented back to you when you're playing back videos. Still looks spectacular.
And one of the key features that is powered by the Super AMOLED is the battery extender. So on your last 10%, you can last the rest of the day if you need to.
That's right. So there's a mode on here which, if invoked, basically takes all the functionality that you don't need to do basic communication like texting or being able to make a call. And so if you're in an emergency situation, maybe you're out at night, whatever your personal emergency might be, if you have 10% battery charge left, you could go a whole day without the phone dying out on you. So that's the kind of ratio we were looking for.
And on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, if you want super performance, now you can basically download files via LTE and Wi-Fi at the same time.
That's right. We're able to take advantage of faster networks that are both LTE based as well as Wi-Fi based. So we have two antennas built in here for Wi-Fi, and we can support something called MIMO, multi-input, multi-output, so we can take advantage of two channels at once for downloads. Theoretically, that would be 800 megabits per second, but on a router that's rated as AC, which is the new Wi-Fi standard. And conversely, on LTE, we're also able to take advantage of the fastest speeds that are available for those as well, so-called Cat4 LTE, or advanced LTE as you've seen it marketed. And as a bonus, if you're really in a hurry to download that movie before you catch the plane in the airport, then you can take advantage of Wi-Fi and LTE simultaneously using something called Download Booster.
And I guess one last major feature is there's a focus on health now, and we've seen the S Health app before, and that's evolved now with a heart rate monitor and more features.
That's right. So we have an S Health hub, and we've introduced that a couple of generations ago, but we've added more features and functionality, the ability to track your steps, keep track of exercise, what you're eating, so you can maintain that. In fact, there's an ability to socialize that now, by publishing that to your friends and colleagues, as it were. But the new feature that we built in is a heart rate sensor. So in addition to being able to track those elements that I described, if you place your finger on the back of the device and have the heart rate monitor app running, it will measure your heart rate and keep track of that.
Okay, so that's a quick look at the Galaxy S5. They also have some brand new wearables that are the evolution of the Gear series. So let's have a look at those. So Samsung launched the Galaxy Gear last year, and now we have the evolution of that with the Gear 2.
That's right. So we've made some improvement. We learned a lot in that first generation, and we were very happy with the success of the product. It had, a lot of functionality built into it: camera, speakerphone, and ability to play, be a media controller for different devices. Some of the improvements on this one are, first of all, from a hardware point of view, we moved the camera functionality and the speakerphone onto the main part of the device. That means that the band is now replaceable by users, as opposed to before when it was more, something that had to be done through service. We've also put an infrared blaster in here, so in fact you can use this to control TV. We also have a music player built in so that you're able to now push songs onto the device and use it independently of the phone. So it's not just a media controller, it's also something that can be used to play music. And then it has all those notifications that that were already part of the Gear family. So it's very tightly integrated still with the Samsung family of smartphones. And one other aspect I could point out is on the back, there's a heart rate sensor. So in addition to the one that's built into the phone, you also have the option to add that functionality through one of the Gear devices and keep track of that while you're exercising or through the course of the day.
For the music player, obviously it needs some of its own internal memory. How much is in there?
There's 4 gigs actually of space that you can load songs onto.
And you can just load them from your phone over Bluetooth or what have you?
That's exactly right. Use Bluetooth to push the songs through the Gear Manager. So there's a piece of software that runs actually on the phone, and you can choose tracks through that process and just have them loaded onto the Gear. So there's another version that's a little bit as a sort of as an alternative. This is still in the $300 plus range, and this is in the $200 plus range in terms of pricing. So we have something called the Gear Neo, and the Gear Neo has most of the functionality I described. The materials are a little bit different, and it doesn't have the camera built in. But this will give people choices with respect to how much functionality they want built in to a device like this.
And does that have the heart rate monitor too then?
It does. It has the heart rate monitor and the music player and the the IR blaster and the the ability to get notifications and respond to them. And it also has the S-Voice functionality that the Gear 2 has.
And then finally, the one that I was most interested in is the Gear Fit, because it's really capitalizing on the fitness tracker kind of trend that's happening in the last couple of years.
You're absolutely right. So what we decided to do on this one was to build an even more simplified device that has sort of so first of all, a rounded AMOLED screen, which we think is very attractive. It creates a different look and a different way of presenting data in a simplified format. So it strips away some of the communication functionality that I described. It also is a media controller rather than a player because we've simplified it. But if you're, to your point, if you're considering other fitness products and you said, they're very specific purpose for just that one function. If you wanted a little bit more functionality over something you were going to wear, so over the course of the day, we still think that people want to get notifications and want to get a little bit more feedback than you're able to get on existing products. So we built more functions into this than would be on the existing fitness bands. And this also has a more of a rubberized feel, so more of an active feel to it, and you're able to actually pop the actual device itself out of the strap, and so it'll be future ability to replace it or customize to your heart's content.
And I guess one last question that kind of came up is, you've dropped the Galaxy name from the Gear line. I'm sure there's a lot of our viewers that are going to have questions why the name has been dropped. Can you speak to that?
Sure. Well, we are a company that looks at different ways of achieving our goals, and so these happen to run on Tizen, which is another operating system choice, but it's very tightly integrated with Android and the Android devices that we sell on our phones. So I also don't want users to get confused about what that might mean. We think there'll be a healthy application development cycle because of that. There's some ability to manage the different screen sizes of devices we have coming out. So we've gone in this direction at this point in time, but we're still very, obviously, extremely committed to Android.
And this looks like an exciting new lineup here from Samsung. Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you.
You can look forward to all of these products launching in Canada on April 11th. We'll be getting the S5 in the review lab, so stay tuned for our review. I'm Michael Kwan with Megatech News. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in our next video.